The topic for today's discussion is passing of bills in the parliament and the state legislatures and their assenting by the executive, namely the President of India and the governors of each state. This is the sovereign function. Sovereignty lies in the power to make laws and to implement them. This used to be concentrated in one person, namely the king in olden days. As a refinement to monarchies, the finest policy of democracy has been evolved. In this, the sovereign function of lawmaking and law implementing are separated between two agencies, namely the legislative and the executive. The legislative and the executive should come together, or rather should concur with each other to make any new law. In tune with that, Indian Constitution has provided that the legislatures will pass the bills and the executive will assent or withhold such bills. The provisions with regard to passing of bills and their assenting are contained in Article 109 to 118. The same principles apply even to states. Under Article 198 to 207. The only variation is that with regard to the union, it is the president who assents to bills or withholds them. In case of states, such power is given to the governors of those states. The parliament or the legislatures pass three kinds of bills: money bills, other bills, and constitutional amendments. Money bills and other bills need to be passed by simple majority in the legislatures. Now the question is, what is simple majority? Article 110 defines the quorum required of the legislatures. It is said that 10% of the total membership of the legislatures is the quorum of each house under Article 109. A money bill is one in which either a new taxation is proposed or new expenditure is proposed. And however, whether it is a money bill or not is decided by the Speaker of that House, whose decision shall be final. Coming to Article 112, which related to annual financial statement. This annual financial statement, we are popularly calling it as a budget. It contains all the capital receipts, revenue receipts, and capital expenditure and revenue expenditure for the next financial year. This budget is introduced in the parliament every financial year. Usually it is done in the month of February, so that the government of financial affairs are in a planned fashion, and the citizens also can plan their financial affairs in tune with the government priorities. Consolidated Fund of India. This Consolidated Fund of India is maintained by the President of India and operated by him. These are such expenditure which are not required to be discussed in the legislatures. They are namely the salaries and expenditure of the office of the President of India, the salaries, pensions and expenditure of offices of the Supreme Court and High Court judges, the salaries and office expenses of the speakers of legislatures, and the salaries and expenditures of the chairman of the legislatures, and repayment of loans and interest. And finally, the payments which are required to be made due to any court decrees or awards of arbitral tribunals. These expenditure need not be discussed or passed in the legislatures. Whereas all other expenditure are also charged on the Consolidated Fund of India, but they will be discussed and passed in the legislatures. Provided that no demand shall be made for additional expenditure without recommendation of the President of India. By this, you should understand that it is the President of India who is the financial controller of this country, who operates the Consolidated Fund of India, who introduces or causes to be introduced the budget into the legislatures. Now, let us critically analyze what is happening in India today and what should happen. Some other commanding majority in a state legislature is becoming the chief minister. So the majority political parties are under them. As such, it is they who can pass any bill. And then it has to be assented to by the executive. If you say that the executive is bound to assent to all bills sent to them, there is no purpose of sending them instead of wasting time. The word of Prime Minister and Chief Minister will become law. Instead of democratic rule, constitutional rule, it becomes a political party rule, or it becomes an individual rule, or it may become a family rule. This is not democracy. Somebody is becoming Prime Minister, he is appointing ministers, and his finance minister introduced a budget, and all his party men will clap in support of it. What is this fun? Where is the meaningful discussion? Let us assume for a while that the presence of opposition parties is meager in legislatures. Then what meaningful discussion can be there on the budget or any other bill? I told you that the president and ministers constitute one political party. They represent one political party. Sometimes they may have majority in the parliament and sometimes they may not. If they have majority, there is no difficulty in passing any bill, either money bill or other bill or a constitutional amendment. But sometimes it so happens, as happens in the United States of America, the party of the president may not hold majority in the parliament. In such case, passing of the finance bill becomes difficult. Naturally, it would be endeavor of the government to show a rosy picture, to make a window dressing, that all is well and all is going to be well. They declare so many social welfare schemes, freebies to woo the voters. Then the opposition will come to play an important role. They will question in the parliament how you are going to justify your planned expenditure. What is your income? How do you get it? So you are making all false promises which are not practical. And then the government will go to the masses and educate them. They wanted to give the best social welfare schemes. They wanted to give different concessions to different people, but the opposition has prevented them. In turn, the opposition parties also will go to masses and explain that the government is trying to window dressing or bluffing the electorate by making false promises which are not practicable. Ultimately, it is the people who judge the actions of the legislators and the executive, and they will decide their fate in the ensuing elections. This is the beauty of democracy. Unfortunately, the reverse is happening in India. The majority party is also becoming the ruler. They are passing the bills whatever they want, and they are demanding that they should be assented to by the executive. If not, they are going to the judiciary. Unfortunately, judiciary also, without understanding what is democracy, what is separation of powers, what is stated in the constitution, sometimes ordering the executive to assent to bills or to withhold them within 3 months, otherwise such bills are deemed assented to. This is nothing but total demolition of the constitution and democracy, total destruction of democracy and the constitution. We know under Article 122 and 212, the judiciary is not supposed to interfere with legislative proceedings even if they are procedurally irregular. If passing of bills in the legislatures and assenting to them or withholding them by the executive is not a legislative proceedings, what else can be legislative proceedings? The right of the people to judge the actions of the legislators and the executive is taken away. And the judiciary is becoming everything in India. This is a very dangerous trend. There should be separation of powers. Each section should act in its own sphere, namely the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. So, please understand that the president is essentially a politician, a party representative. He may or may not have majority in the legislatures. The legislatures have to pass a bill and president has to assent to it, only then it becomes law. Otherwise, the governments will have to be conducted in accordance with the existing law. Heavens are not going to fall. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video. I request you to please subscribe, share and comment on my videos, and I will be glad to reply to your worthy comments. I have taken it as my life mission to propagate the true content of the Constitution as I understood, with fond hope that with help of all of you, there would be a change in social, political and economic order of this country for the good of the people and the country. Thank you.